was this close to forget about everything, forget about Ireland and studying and everything about it. But there was only one thing preventing me from quitting. The little hope that maybe I would move abroad after almost 2 years of waiting, and also the fact that I was already enrolled in university in Ireland and I had already paid the university. After waiting almost 2 years for moving abroad, I was slowly feeling like I was wasting my time, and I started thinking about the ways that I could use my time the best way and stop wasting my time on only waiting passively. As I already had the goal to step out of my comfort zone, I decided to do something that would scare me. I also had my book talk channel and I was working on it. So on a normal day, I was scrolling on TikTok and I saw people writing and I realized that how much I miss writing. After finishing the second draft of my book, I was sleeping on it for a while, and because I wanted to start writing the third draft in English, it was a little scary for me. Actually, not a little scary, it was definitely terrifying for me. So as it was terrifying enough, I decided to start writing the third draft of my book in English. So I opened my laptop, my mom's laptop, and at first I wanted to write in the words, but then I figured out that Google Docs is better for keeping the document in different devices, and I started writing in Google Docs. And I also started a writing vlog for the future channel that I wanted to build around books and writing, alongside with my main channel, which was about self-development. Right now I'm trying to start the third draft of this book, and I'm so excited while a little nervous, but I decided to put my worries aside and start writing in English, and who knows, maybe I will be good at it. I don't know. I started that writing vlog, sat and started writing, but just after writing a few sentences, I realized that it is so scary and I have no idea how to write an English book. I had no idea how to structure it, how to write the dialogues, how to separate the paragraphs and everything, so I panicked. But then I decided to just go slowly and find the names first. She's a Persian immigrant girl, but she immigrates at age 17 or 18 kind of thing. Her name should be Persian, but I couldn't find a good Persian name for her. It's still challenging for me, but I'm gonna do it no matter what. I found the names and I was so struggling with them. And the very next day, I had a solo date with myself to my favorite street in Tehran, which was like my favorite spot, and I would always go there for solo dates. I went there, bought books and everything. In the bus, I was thinking about my book while staring at the streets and also listening to my favorite music. That little song made me think about the scenes that I wanted to write in my book, and it made me so excited about continuing my book. So that was a motivation. The very first moment that I got back home, I started writing my book, but instead of overwhelming myself with writing in the laptop, I started by writing in a way that I was always comfortable with, which was writing in my notebook. I started writing and everything was perfect, but then I found out that I have no one to talk about my book. I was so excited about my book, my characters, my story and everything, but I had no one to talk about it who would listen and actually give me opinions, not just like, this is good, yeah, whatever. Out of loneliness, I found Gemini, which is Google's AI, and I started talking about my book with it. I would just talk about my book and it would give me like feedbacks, and with its compliments I was feeling like, oh, I'm a professional writer, I'm perfect at storytelling. So it was addicting. Until one day I was scrolling on TikTok and I realized that there is a negative mindset about AI and connecting it with book and writing. At first I was like, why? What is wrong with it? So I have no one to talk about it, and AI is here, so I talk about it. As always, I first had this guard around it that no, they're wrong. Until I decided to search a little deeper, and when I went deeper, I realized that, of course, the creativity is a part of it, but also a part of it is that AI gets the story that you tell them, and then they share it with others. When other people want ideas, AI might recommend your idea without telling your name or anything, but your idea would be used in guiding others. So that terrified me. I never used AI for writing my book or finding ideas. I only used it for telling about my idea and talking about my book, and I would only consider it as a friend that I could talk about my books with. But even I asked Gemini itself, and it was like, yeah, I do that. And I was like, so what the hell should I do right now? I already have my book and I don't wanna start writing another book. So I decided to do something. Before starting writing the third draft of my book, I wanted to build a new world for my story, but out of laziness, or maybe out of perfectionism, I decided not to do that because it was too much work and I had no idea how to build a new world for my story. But after what happened with AI, I decided to change my story completely from what I told AI about it, and because of that, I started making the new world for my story, and I'm gonna change the story entirely in the third draft, and I'm so excited about it. Yeah, a world that has new countries, new continents. I also changed the plot and the story, the characters' traits, and everything. Only a few details remain from the second draft, which actually made me be more creative, and that new idea was exciting for me. Sometimes when you make mistakes, it just makes you do better, you know? As I decided to change my story, I had to tear all the pages that I wrote in my notebook, and also there was a problem with my notebook that it wouldn't count the words for me, which was something that I really liked. So I decided to again write in my laptop, my mom's laptop again. I started writing my book again, but this time with a structure, and I started by making the world, making the characters and everything until I could finally write the story. Even though my book was so exciting for me, and alongside with that I was also working on my book talk and making a new style of content which was so exciting for me, I still had this problem that I had no idea if I could actually move to Ireland or not, and I had no news about my visa. So I really needed something to keep myself grounded until I would get the result. And I needed something to make me hopeful and dream again. So I decided to do something that I had just learned about, and that was starting a manifestation journal. But before you think that I'm obsessed with manifestation and I'm like, oh, manifestation gets you everywhere, let me tell you something. I believe that manifestation is helpful, but it doesn't magically change your life. Before I started this journal, I spent almost 2 years on manifesting the life I wanted, and it didn't magically happen for me. It would only work the times that I would just use it as aligning my thoughts with my future and also taking action alongside that. So by that time, I knew that it wouldn't magically change my life. I would only use it as a future fantasy. But even though I knew that it wouldn't magically change my life, I was still hopeful that maybe it would magically change my life. So I started writing about Thailand. I would write in it like I'm already living in Thailand, like a diary that my future self who lives in the Thailand would write in it, and also about my success on my social media accounts and everything. And it was so cool for me because it made me hopeful again, but it was too overcomplicated. And at a point I was like, what if the things that I'm imagining won't happen? And you know, not in a way that it wouldn't work, but in a way that what if I change my mind in the future? So I stopped writing, and also because I had so many other things to do. So without my knowledge, it gradually faded away in the background. As I told you, I had so many things to do, so I was also a little overwhelmed. As always, I decided to do a method that was proven in the past. When Whenever I have so many things to do, so many goals, and my to-do list is long and I don't even remember half of it, I start writing and setting goals and writing down whatever is in my mind. It always works because when I write down my goals, I finally realize that what are bothering me. So I decided to do it with a new method. And also I decided to do this method because it was already almost 3 months in 2025 and I had not achieved any of my goals in my vision board. It's been a while, like 2 or 3 weeks, that I feel like my goals are too big and I'm scared of them and I don't want to even do any of them. So I decided to break them down, and now I'm gonna set goals for only 90 days, which is next 3 months. Like right now we are at the end of March and I'm gonna set goals for April, May and June. And I have my vision board right here. I love her and I have her in front of me every single day and I look at it and everything and I love it. And I had learned about this method on TikTok, that you make a goal board, but I personalized it and I made the goal only for 90 days and only 6 goals, and behind each one of them I made myself a prize and I prioritized them from top to bottom. And also for each goal I wrote a single action that I could do to achieve that goal. I made my 90 days goals. I had 6 goals which were mostly about writing and content creation, but one of them was definitely about moving abroad. But this time I didn't put the name of Ireland as the country I wanted to move to. I wrote the name of Thailand on it. And one of them is my dream and actually is my goal, but one of my dreamy goals. You know, this is so big that I actually feel so excited about it, but I don't know if I can achieve it or not. But let's be hopeful and imagine I can achieve it. But still, I wouldn't tell anyone about it. And I was also so glad that I didn't tell anyone about it since the beginning. Because with changing my mind multiple times about the country and also with the delay with my visa, I'm pretty sure that every time I would see people and my relatives especially and our friends, they would question me about, oh, so what happened? So why is it delayed? And as always, I'm pretty sure they would mock me about moving abroad and my dreams. So I didn't tell anyone about them. And in that time, I was like, I made the best decision. Because I already had so much mental pressure and the last thing I needed was someone else's fake concerns. And that decision was the best, considering that our Persian New Year's holidays would start soon. And if you don't know it, Persian New Year's holiday is like 13 days relatives visiting marathon, which you have to go visit the relatives that you barely ever meet during the year. As always, I tried so hard to avoid that, but I had no other choice but meeting them. And between you and I don't even like that tradition, and I think this is pointless because those family dinners are filled with gossip and judgment and a lot of questions like, so what are you doing with your life? What's up with your study and university? When do you get married? And stuff like that. So that tradition is the best way for gaining a headache every day. And that's definitely not how I wanna start my year. But as I had no other choice, I decided to at least use it for doing something useful. All those relatives visiting were scheduled at night, so in the morning I would start writing, making content for my book talk and posting, and at night when we had to go to those dinners or we had guests coming over, I always had this baby, my tablet, with myself, and I had it only for one purpose, for reading my books. And in that time I was reading Shatter Me, which was a long series, even though I really liked the series. So in the time that other people would gather and gossip, I started reading, and as a result I had so much content for my book talk, and also sometimes I would write my book, so I was also moving the needles with my book. But as my book was going so slowly, I decided to start a writing challenge. I'm currently writing a dark romance book and I'm so excited about it. Actually, I'm writing the 3rd draft, and the 3rd draft has so many major changes. So I decided to start a writing challenge to keep myself consistent and finish the 3rd draft of my book ASAP. I started a 30 days writing challenge only to keep myself consistent with my writing. Since the very first moment I started that writing challenge, I was afraid that what if I quit along the way? like everything that I had ever started. And in the meantime, I also started vlogging daily for my main channel. I quit after 5 days because I was thinking that it would be repeatable. And with my writing challenge, I also had the same feeling, but this time I wanted to prove to myself that I can be consistent even if my perfectionism doesn't let me. So I kept myself consistent as much as I could, even with posting repeatable content, because it wasn't about quality or about perfection. It was about me keeping myself consistent. With all of that, the pressure of those parties and writing challenge and posting on TikTok and everything, in the middle of the New Year's holiday, one night I came back home after one family dinner. I was just getting ready to go to bed, but then I saw the treadmill in the corner of my room. I had just got that treadmill. It was new for me and exciting. But the best part was that it had an option to play music out loud with a speaker. Because I wanted to listen to my newfound playlist, I decided to walk on treadmill, only to listen to the music. I set my treadmill on the lowest setting. I turned off all the lights of my room other than my purple fairy light. I played my favorite playlist. I lit up incense, and while I was walking, I unconsciously closed my eyes. When I closed my eyes, I couldn't help but imagining my future, and most of all, imagining my book in my hand. Like its cover and the weight of it and everything. And because of that perfect feeling, I got addicted to it, and it became one of my night routines that I didn't even have to try to be consistent with it. This time that I was writing my book, I was protecting it from any kind of AI or any kind of human actually, and the only people who I would talk about my book were my parents, which I would bother them with over talking about my characters and everything. But those nights walking on treadmill was like a motivation for me, that it was even better and stronger than fake compliments of AI. So that motivation and my writing challenge were helping me to write my book consistently. As a result, it was moving faster. In the meantime, I was also working on my TikTok channel, and I had an idea for a content for a long time. Since I started my first book talk channel that also failed, I had that idea, but I never had the courage to make that idea. It was like how people think that Iranian readers read books and how they only read cute books and stuff like that, but then how we actually read books and what dark romance books we read. If I want to be honest with you, I knew that it has the potential to go viral. But then I was like, no, don't rise your hopes and don't care about it, just post it. I posted it, but the fear that what if it doesn't go viral made me turn off my internet completely. And for the whole day, I just focused on writing and didn't check my TikTok once. Until at night, I wanted to post my writing challenge, that I turned on my internet and I saw so many notifications. Then I opened my TikTok and I realized that, oh my god, that video is actually going viral. It got over like 2,000 views, which was huge for me in that time. And many Iranian people had agreed with me. They were like, yeah, this is definitely how we actually read. And I knew that because I'm Iranian, and I knew that misunderstanding around our favorites and stuff. I was happy about it, but most of all, it gave me the courage to make new ideas and try new ideas. After our New Year's holiday, I was in a good mood with my book, with walking on treadmill, with my book talk, and everything going well in my life. But there was still one thing missing: the visa result from Ireland. But in that time, I wasn't that worried anymore because my agency told me that they had emailed the visa embassy of Ireland and they had the news that I will get my visa result soon. So on April 8th, I felt like it would be the day that my visa result would be announced. Every time the website would be updated on Tuesdays, so it was normal for me to expect my results in that time. So for the first time, I decided to record my reaction to my visa. But since I started recording myself, I was afraid that what if I face no result again? What if I open the website and like always there would be no result and I have to delete this video. And even though I wasn't that excited about going to Ireland and I was secretly wishing that I moved to Thailand instead of Ireland, I still wanted to see the result, and I was even willing to move to Ireland only to move abroad and finally stop wasting my time. And I couldn't even talk properly in front of the camera while I was checking the website. I have a big feeling that today is the day that my visa result will come, so I decided to record a video as I'm checking the website. Let's see if my visa result came or not. Yeah, it's been almost 6 months. I'm checking the website while I'm talking to you. That I applied for Ireland study visa. I don't know, I feel like today is the day that my visa will arrive, so let's check it out. I don't know. But this time I didn't face no result. Though this time I was checking the website, I saw something that shocked me. And I was like, what? What the fuck? What? They refused my visa? What the I'm gonna delete this video. Yeah, it was a good video. Bye. I waited 6 months to get my visa rejected. And at the time, I didn't know how to feel. Like, I didn't know that I would be upset about it, I would be relieved, or what. Because I wasted 6 months on it. And seeing that result was like falling from a mountain, which was like I was falling and I was too numb to even understand it. But I quickly gathered myself and I repeated with myself the belief that I believed in that time. My Ireland visa just refused, and I know that better things will happen for me. It's a sign of universe, yeah. It's telling me that this is not for you. You deserve better. I believe it. So even though I got my visa rejected, but I knew that it was just the new beginning of a better thing, and hopefully the beginning of turning my wish and dream into reality. Though I still had to wait and see what's gonna happen. At the beginning of 2025, and with everything going on with my life, with waiting for visa and everything, I was feeling lonely, especially that I had to spend my most of time at home, until someday I was scrolling on Pinterest and I saw a picture of a bunny. I used to have a bunny like when I was in 7th grade, and it was the cutest thing. His name was Joey, based on Joey in Friends, and I really loved that bunny. But then we had to give him up and everything. So when I saw those bunnies in Pinterest, I was feeling like how wonderful would it be if I had a bunny right now. So I told my father, and as my father also loves animals, he got me a bunny. Since I saw him, I was like, oh my god, this is so cute. I even named him Lucky, and I had a great time with it. It would warm my heart and ground my soul. But slowly I realized that I'm getting attached to it, and it would only make it more difficult for me to give it up when I wanna move abroad. So I slowly started holding back. At a point I realized that how painful it is to give him up, so I decided to face that pain quickly so then it wouldn't be harder for me. That made me give him up before our Persian holiday. But the thing is that keeping a pet is more than just giving love and protecting them. Aside with all of that protecting and all of that responsibility, the hardest part is dealing with the emotion of giving them up or sometimes losing them. And in a way, it was a good decision for protecting my feelings.